So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about getting into the quadratic function. The very first thing that we talked about in terms of function is a linear function. And linear function has the formula y equals mx plus b. Okay. Now the quadratic function is a different function, and then you'll see that it will have different shape. So our goal today is to take a look at the shape of the function. We're going to talk about vertex. What is a vertex? What is a leading coefficient? Well, we know what leading coefficient is already, yes? But this one is another leading coefficient. End behavior, we talked about end behavior, meaning where does the end of this function go? If you were to continue on, where does it go? Y-intercept, x-intercept, and range. So, I like the way they had it here, that some of these things are quadratic function. So this is an application, or we can describe this shape as a quadratic function, okay? And then this one is a shape of a quadratic function. And this one, well, that's a quadratic function if we cut it, if we cut the contact lens. So some of these are called, the shape is called a parabola. Parabola. So that's the shape of something like when you toss, oh yeah, parabola or parabola. Like if you toss something to the garbage can, or if you kick a ball, if you play basketball, right? It's called a projectile motion. If you are connecting it to physics, it's called a projectile motion. So using the graphing calculator, we're going to do that to analyze the following function. Use your graphing calculator to determine which of the following are quadratic function. Okay, now I'm going to give you the function. The function has to be y equals to ax squared plus b times x plus c. So this function here, you would see a quadratic function, you will see a parabola if you have the equation, or you can rewrite the equation in this form. A, B, and C are just numbers, okay? Just to let you know, A, B, and C are just numbers. And then the x, and then another x in here, and then the y, those are the variables, the x and y variables. The B and C could be 0. The A cannot be 0. Okay, so when you look at this one here, does it look like this one? Okay, is there a way for us to rewrite this in this form?
No.
So let's give it a try. Let's give it a try, okay? So we can say, hey, I can write this as 0.02 x squared. That's our A. The B value is supposed to be multiplied with x. Well, and then I don't see it in here. So that could be 0x. Okay, I wonder if anybody can see that. And then what's the C value?
3.
Minus 3. I shouldn't have put it there. Okay, so the A value is 0.02. The B, because we don't see it here, so it must be 0. So 0x. And then the C is -3. -3. Does that look like a quadratic function to us now? Yeah. So when we graph this, this is going to give us a parabola. Okay? So let's go ahead and type that into our y1. y1. So we know how to do that. Okay, so go to y equals. On y1, we're going to type in 0.02 x, so this is our x, squared. Okay, so squared, you can press the square button if you want here, right here. Okay. I can zoom it out a bit so we can see the whole thing. I can just go -3 because if the calculator knows that it's going to be 0 times x. Okay, now let's press graph. So definitely that's not going to give us a straight line. That's going to give us a curvy shape. That's a parabola. What kind of parabola is this? Does it open up or does it open down?
Open up.
Open up. Opens up. Okay? So it opens up. Hey.
What is our window supposed to be? Because you got a whole different look on our
Oh,
computer.
yeah, I resetted mine. Try to reset yours. Okay. Because if you haven't changed your window since yesterday, then it would be like really.
That equation, there's only one variable. Like, doesn't there have to be two variables?
You mean 3?
Yeah.
A, B, and C? Yeah. So I could go 0.02 x squared.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Okay, I could go also plus 0x. Is that what you're asking
Yeah,
about?
I just wondered why there's only one variable. Like if you look at A, like underneath the calculator, there's only one variable. So I was just wondering, can you just make up a variable, even if it doesn't include a variable?
Our variables are y and x.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like the formula is y is equal to ax squared plus
Oh,
bx
okay.
plus c.
Yeah. The A, B, and C are numbers. A, B, and C are numbers. They're not variable.
Oh,
Yeah, they're numbers.
okay.
And in this case, A is 0.02.
Yeah. B is
The
zero.
B is 0. Okay, and then this is the C.
C is
Yeah. Okay.
where did the x that goes with B come from?
Because if you type in 0 times x will just be 0.
Okay.
Yeah. Did it work?
Yeah.
Okay. It's just a window. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So that one is a yes. So this is a use a graphing calculator. So yes, this is a quadratic function.
How
So-
do we know that again? Sorry.
How do we know that it's a quadratic function? Yeah, it has to be a parabola, which is like opens up, right? Just like this one or that one. Like a U, but not really a U.
I understand. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, now what about this one? Are we expecting it to be parabola? What can we see? 2x cubed plus 1. Any guesses? You think yes? Okay.
This is
So let's take a look. Let's type it in. Okay, let's clear this.
the baby monkey.
So how do you do cube? How do you do cube? So you could press
Second.
this one,
Which one?
exponent, the caret, 3. Okay. So 2x This is the exponent button. 3. Okay, the exponent 3. It gives you that little 3 up there. Use the arrow key to the right to get rid of the exponent part. So plus 1.
No.
Is everybody okay? So 2x cubed.
She said you can do X. She literally just showed us the cube.
Oh, that's square.
She showed us 2 Oh. Yep.
Oh, sorry. Get rid of that one. So go back. You can see the plus is the exponent. So then we should have
You can use this button.
right? Go to it. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Just square. Okay, that's what she showed us.
Okay, does that look like a parabola to us?
No,
This is not.
it's not a problem.
It's like you. Maybe or cube. Let me see.
So this is like, get out of there. Okay, so now when you look at that one, what does it look like? Does it look like a parabola? Not really, right? So let's take a look. I'm gonna take a look at mine. Yeah, so this is not a parabola. So you're gonna have this. Okay, so no, that's not a parabola. So no. We can see on a graph that it's not a parabola, but can we see it from the equation that it's not a parabola?
Sometimes, yeah, you can figure out.
What does, okay,
Cube.
because of the cube, right? You know, when you look at the equation, it has to be
Square.
squared. That's what makes it parabola, right? The highest is exponent 2, but this one here has an exponent 3 that makes it not a parabola. Okay, this is actually a cubic function. Okay, now so far so good? Is that okay? Now we're gonna take a look at letter C. Letter C, what would that be? Can you see here it's negative? So negative brackets x plus 3 and then brackets x minus 1. So it is? Is it? Yes? Okay, I'm gonna graph it because you're probably thinking, oh yeah, it is a parabola based on what the graph gave us. But then how,
This is not parabola, it's quadratic.
but then what about this function? What about this one here? It's not in this form, but is there a way for us to make it look like that form? Okay. Basically split it. Yeah. So, yeah, you're probably thinking, okay, well, how is that one? I'll just explain it like this. Now, this is a pre-cal stream. This is something what pre-cal class will do. it's called a expansion method. You would expand binomial. Have you seen something like this? Have you seen? Okay, then if I explain it, then you'll probably see why that is. Okay, and there's a negative one. And then, okay, so this is negative. Okay, I'm gonna leave the negative first. X times x will give us x squared. Okay, now as you can see, you'll see the x squared coming up right away. X times negative 1 is negative 1x. And then 3 times x is 3x. And then 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. And then remember, what I did is just, it's called a binomial. Binomial times a binomial. You don't have to know these parts, but I just wanted to show it to you, just for the fun of it. So negative, and then we can combine like terms in here. X squared. You have negative 1x plus 3x. That's going to give us 2x minus 3. Okay. And then multiply each one, multiply everything with a negative. So it's negative x squared minus 2x plus 3. So now, does it look like a quadratic function? Y equals to ax squared plus bx plus c. So our a value is actually the negative 1. The b value is the negative 2. And then the c value is 3. So even though it kind of looks like this, there's a way for us to expand, and make it look like that. Okay? You're not expected to do that in this course, but I thought I'd show it to you. Okay? So that's why that is a yes. Is that good? Yeah? Okay, now let's take a look at letter D. Does that look like a quadratic function to you? No? Why not?
There is no square.
There is no squared. So what do you think this is?
Maybe linear.
It's going to be linear. Yeah, that's going to be linear. Okay, did you realize that that's a linear function?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do that. Yeah, it is linear, right? So you go y equals 2x minus 1, and then if you graph that, that's a linear function. The 2 represents the slope, and then the negative 1 is the y-intercept.
I have a quick question. For A, at the end it says minus 3, and C is minus 3, right? It doesn't have to be plus C.
What am I looking at?
For A.
This 3?
Yeah, because it says like minus 3 there, but doesn't it have to be plus 3?
No, it doesn't have to be plus 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So okay, I'll just explain that in a second. So when you say 0.02x squared plus minus 3, so that's the same thing as 0.02x squared minus 3.
Oh, you're right.
Okay? So, sorry, I went back to 1. So letter D is yes or a no?
No.
No, it's a linear. What about this one? Any guesses?
No.
Why not?
It will be cube.
Oh, because you graphed it already?
It will be cube.
Okay, yeah, that's a good answer. It's no because you've graphed it already. Yeah?
I think it will be cube.
You think it's gonna be cubed? You are right. It's gonna be cubed.
Cube.
Yeah, because you're gonna have negative 2x times x squared. That's gonna give us negative 2x cubed. So yeah, so this is a no. Yeah, that's a no, because that's gonna be a cubic function. What about this one? Is this gonna be a quadratic function, a parabola, or a no?
Yes.
Yeah? Do you, okay, how did you know?
X times x is x squared.
Yeah, okay, very good. Like you are doing that one, right? X times x will give us x squared. Okay, another answer says would be, it's like, yes, it's a parabola, because if I go like this, x minus 5, yeah, that gives me a parabola. Yeah, okay. So you have two possibilities. Yes, you graphed it, and it's a parabola. Or yes, you can say, if I expand it, it will give us x squared. Okay, very good. Very good. Next one. Sketching the quadratic using intercepts. Okay. So I'm just gonna write something over here again on how to figure out the x-intercept and y-intercept using our calculator. So to figure out the x-intercept, what we're gonna do, we're gonna go step 1, you're gonna go y2 equals to 0. And then the second one, you're gonna go second function trace. Okay, some of you already have this second function trace, and you're gonna go to 5 intersect. And then number 3, you're gonna press enter 3 times. Okay, so I know you already have this, but I thought that put it in here so we have it handy. How do we do the y-intercept? Okay, so the first one, we're gonna go second function trace, second function trace, and then you're gonna press 1 for value, and then you're gonna type in x equals to 0, and then you press enter or something. Okay, so we have the 2 steps in here for x-intercept and y-intercept. Okay, ready? So when you're ready, we're gonna type this function on y1. When you're ready, let's go type in this function on y1. Okay. This one for sure is going to be a quadratic function. It's going to give us a parabola because it's a squared, right? It's squared. When you see something squared, it's going to give us a parabola. Okay. I'm going to ask you this. How many y-intercepts do you see? Just one, right? One y-intercept. So that's this one here. This is the y-axis. The y-intercept is where the graph and the y-axis meet. I'm going to ask you one more question before we figure this out. how many x-intercepts do you see?
2.
2. Everybody see 2? Yeah? Okay. X-intercept is where your graph and the x-axis meet. So it meets here and it meets there. So let's figure out the x-intercept first. So we're going to go y equals, we're going to go y2 is 0. Okay? You need to have your y1 and you need to have your y2 entered. Okay? And then what's the next step? Second function.
Number extra home tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning sounds good.
9 a.m.
Yep. Okay. See ya. Second function trace. Oh, sorry. I pressed the wrong button. Second function trace.
Trace.
And then I'm gonna go 5 for intersect. Okay. Now, because we have 2 x-intercepts in here, okay, because we have 2 x-intercepts there, what we're gonna do is we wanna make sure that we're gonna use your arrow key so that it's close to the x-intercept that you want, right? So press the arrow key to the right.
How do we know we want that one?
Do it one at a time. You have to do it one at a time. Yeah, you could do this one first or you could do that one first. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so the calculator is not confused, right? Remember, we're just learning how to use a calculator here. Press enter, enter, and enter. Enter 3 times. Okay, so the first x-intercept is 1.899, so 1.90. I'm just gonna write that down in here. .90. That's the first one. Now let's figure out the second x-intercept. That's this one right here. So we gotta do the same thing. Second function trace. We're gonna go intersect. Now we're gonna swing to the other side. So we're gonna use the arrow key to the left so that we can get closer and closer to that one. Okay?
Okay.
So arrow key to the left to get close to the other x-intercept. Okay, and then now they're gonna keep asking, is this your first curve? Yes, enter. Is this your second curve? Yes, enter. It's basically 3 enters, right? So the other x-intercept is negative 4.15. So these are our 2 x-intercepts. Negative 4.15, yes? Okay. Now let's take a look at the y-intercept. So we're done with the x-intercept, let's do the y-intercept. Second function trace, press 1, and we're gonna enter x equals to 0, and press enter. So the y-intercept is negative 7.88. Okay. Enter. I should put 4, enter. Okay. Good. So now we were supposed to just sketch this thing. So how can we sketch it? We go 1, 2, 3, 4. -1, -2, -3, ooh, -4, I gotta go a little bit more, -5, -7.88, so -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so -8 here. So in this particular case, we're only interested in the 3 special points. The 2 x-intercepts, and then the 1 y-intercept. So let's plot those things. Where's 1.90?
Right before the 2.
Just right before the 2, right? Right there. It's close to 2. Where is -4.15?
Right before the middle.
So it's going to be -1, 2, 3, 4. And then it's going to be a little bit to the left of -4. Okay? So those are the x-intercepts. Where is the y-intercept at -7.88? Close to the 8, right? So you go down, so just before the 8. Do you notice that the parabola are symmetrical? You know what symmetrical is? You know, anybody here takes art?
Like 2 lines continuously, or continuous distance apart, never changing.
Yeah, so it's gonna have a mirror image, equal parts. Okay. As you can see, there's like, if this is a -0.788, it's gonna be slightly, it dips a little bit below, right? It kind of has this dip here. It's symmetrical between the 2. You can cut this thing in half. This half and then this half. Okay. I think I'm gonna stop right there. Tomorrow, definitely we have to finish the rest of these. And tomorrow, everything is back to normal. Okay, we don't have that free lunch anymore. We don't have extended lunch period.
Well, free lunch is bad.
Oh, free lunch is good,
Mess
but
up schedule is
mess up
good.
schedule is weird. Yeah, I know. Okay, so we're gonna pause here. If you want, you can try the example 3 on your own, and then we'll talk about it tomorrow. Okay? So, if you want, remember your assignment? Oh, you should get started on that. You know a little bit about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.